of your redeeming glory as your blood just washes over them. And may that bring them joy today. More than anything else, may their salvation cause them joy. I thank you, Father, for every sponsor. I thank you, Lord, that you've given us time that we can give back to you on this show. And we ask that everything we say be uplifting, be edifying, be encouraging, and most importantly, bring joy to everyone watching, everyone listening. And may it be a special blessing to us today as we give of ourselves to you. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen. And that segment was brought to you by Outside the Four Walls Ministry with Mr. Tony Myers, right?
That's right. That's it.
Look at that. Thank you, Mr. Tony Myers,
for sponsoring us. Guys, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get us. We dropped the frames and we dropped out of Facebook, so I'm trying to get it fixed.
It's back live again.
We're back live, so I'm trying to pick that up on the phone and get that going.
Devil didn't want to hear my prayer.
I guess so, but the radio listeners heard it. That's who was supposed to hear it this morning.
That's right. Look at the Lord.
That's right. He knew who was supposed to hear it today.
He gets it out. That's why we're on all kinds of platforms, friends.
That's exactly right. That's exactly
That's
right.
for sure.
The Wi-Fi is slow this morning. But
Praise
anyway,
the Lord.
So thank you, Lord. I'm thankful to be here today.
I am too.
be sitting
I'm
in the
I'm
studio.
exhausted, but I was thankful that the Lord woke me up and started me on my way.
Well, so April. Oh, I'm sorry, Cassie.
That's
I'm looking at
okay.
her name here, going April. You mentioned being exhausted.
Yeah.
So that's going to take us right into our conversation with the cruise segment. I'm going to let you start that this morning because we've got a lot
Okay.
to talk about. We just came back from a crazy
Yeah.
first time ever vacation riding through the mountains of West Virginia. We're going to talk about that a little bit too. But here we go. Hold on.
And now, for your listening pleasure, conversation with the crew.
All right.
I am excited to talk
Yes,
about
yes.
our trips. We've been on trips. So you want me to go first?
So, yeah, I want you to tell
Okay.
our listeners what you've been doing for the past week.
Yeah, so this past week, I, along with our youth and our youth leaders and some of the parents of our youth, have been on a mission trip in Mexico. So we went to Nuevo Laredo. It's right across the border. We were actually staying in El Cenizo, Texas, which is right outside of Laredo, Texas. We went over with pastor and missionary David Burkett. He has a church in El Cenizo, and he also goes over to Mexico very frequently. He's partnered with some churches. He builds houses and churches all throughout Mexico as the Lord leads. And so we got the opportunity to work with him and go build a house in this village, Blanca Navidad. That's how you say it.
Okay.
Kind of, sort of.
Black
Kind of.
Christmas.
It was white Christmas. That's what it means. Blanca means white.
Oh, I
Blanca is
thought white was something else.
That's white.
Yeah, because it snowed there. I remember that.
That one
story.
time, yeah, it
That's
snowed
right,
one
that's
time,
right.
and so that's what they named the village. And our church has built several homes in the village. I think this is the only village our church has built homes in, and this will be the fourth house that our youth group has built.
Awesome.
The second house that I've worked on, and it was just incredible. So we built this house, and we also worked with Pastor David, his church, like 2 weeks before we had planned to come, was hit by this really strong storm, and so it blew his entire roof off. And so miraculously, God sent some roofers just in time for us to come, and we fixed the lights because Mr. James is an electrician, and we laid ceiling tile and insulation, and then Mr. Bill works in construction, so he laid some sheetrock, and it was incredible. So each morning we got up, we went over to Mexico, we built this house. We got it built in 2 days. It was incredible. It was super fast how the Lord did it.
Now, Cassie, I want to interrupt you just for a second here because our listeners may not know, and this is so important. I think they need to understand this because we're so blessed here in America. Tell us what you mean when you say house.
Yeah, so it was 12 by like 14.
Right.
4 walls, 2 windows, a door. We paint the outside, and the inside is literally just plywood. We don't do insulation or anything like that. One, because it's so hot, and they don't have power anyway, and so they're working, like part of the village has a little bit of makeshift power. And we were driving through, and Mr. James being an electrician, we were like astonished at all the cables that were just dangling in the road. So unsafe, but they don't typically have power. No indoor plumbing.
Now, is there a reason they don't have power since the cables are there? I mean, like the wire is there?
Mainly the infrastructure of that country. Mexico just doesn't care about
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
people
so they
at
don't.
all.
Yeah, they don't. They don't do repairs and stuff. Like if your lights go out, you call the electric company.
Right.
They don't really have that. Like the orphanage we went to on Thursday, they hadn't had power for 12 days.
Now, is this orphanage the one that David and them have been working on for years? And
Yes.
building and
Yes.
stuff?
So
Okay.
Pastor David has built an orphanage. Like he built the building in Blanca Navidad, but the orphans have not moved into that building yet because they had some issues with the plumbing, they had some issues with the power, and so they have not been able to move in. So that right now they're in this really old Spanish style house. It was beautiful, but it was very old, and they had not had power for 12 days.
Wow.
Their bathroom, like I went in there to use the bathroom, it's completely flooded. Something's wrong with their plumbing, and it was hot. It's because like they have power, but they don't have air conditioner.
Right.
You know,
right.
so they just have like a few little lights. And like when we're talking about them having electricity, we're talking about someone tapping into someone else's wire who's been tapped into someone else's wire. Like I'm not talking about someone.
Like what we think.
Yeah. And it was crazy. There are power poles, even in like the bigger parts of the city, because the place we were at, the village, is right across the border, a good 20-minute drive. It's not in a city. It's really out there. Like you're just surrounded by dirt and trees. And by trees, I mean those little mesquite trees, not like big pretty trees. And there's just like nothing. Everyone's house is like a lean-to, except for the houses that we've built. Some of them have block houses, but they're not finished. Just like they had just enough money to get a little bit, but not enough, because they mainly build with cement blocks there because they hold up better and they're a lot cooler. And wood is hard to come by when all you have is mesquite trees around.
Right.
You can't build with that. You can barbecue.
So when y'all build a house, do y'all do it with wood or the blocks?
We do it with, we're not block masons. That would take forever, I think.
Well, I didn't know if y'all had someone there that helped do
Yeah.
that and was.
Well, so Mamo, he lives in the village. He was the first house that University Parkway, he was the first house that Mr. Bill Doolittle built
right.
for, and I think he went over with Millbrook and built their house.
Right.
And kind of just adopted that family, and we go see them every time, which is such a blessing. But he lays the foundation because he now works for Pastor David Burkett.
Okay.
So he lays the concrete foundation, which is incredible because everyone else is just walking on dirt. And so
Okay.
we give them that foundation, and then we just use wood that we bring over from
Okay.
America.
Okay.
So 2x4s, and then some plywood walls, and
Right.
then we put a roof up, and then Mamo shingles it, which is very nice because all the other stuff is just like pallet boards. Like a lot of these homes are made out of pallet boards that they just like makeshift put together.
If I remember correctly, I remember Megan saying that the houses cost around $2,000 to build.
Yeah, and this year was a little more expensive because the price of wood.
Right.
Mr. David still had a lot of wood, so we got to use that. But yes, they are pretty expensive because wood's not cheap, and you're not paying for labor because nobody pays us. So we're literally just paying for. We give them a doorknob with a key. We give them a door. We give them 2 windows, which is wild because they're like, "Oh my gosh, windows! What are these?"
Right.
And then you have to pay for the cement slab, and he does pay Mamo for
what
working.
he does.
It's not a lot of money, but
Right.
it's more money than he was making before as a bird catcher.
Right.
And then we buy the shingles, and then nails and paint and all stuff like that.
So you go and you build these houses
Mhm.
or these rooms is what we would
Yeah,
classify.
it's a room.
Really, it's
a
a
room.
room.
My room at home is bigger.
And so that's part of what y'all do as the ministry.
Mhm.
But the other things you do is focusing on the children. And I know a lot of
Yes.
y'all bring toys and goodies and all kind of stuff and
Right.
ministry and stuff. So tell us a little bit
Right.
about that and the joy with the children
Oh
and
my
stuff.
goodness. Oh, I might cry. So, Monday and Tuesday we build the house and we get it completely finished. Wednesday we have church in Mexico, at the church in the village, and there's lots of children there. They had more children than adults there, and they were feeding the children. And one of the ladies came up to me and she told me that, this is the only meal that they're probably going to get all day. And it's been so hard because they haven't had, since COVID, they haven't had as many people sending stuff for the children. And she was like, last week I gave them a cookie and some coffee, and that's all that I could give them because that's all I had. And I was like, oh my goodness, here, give them everything.
They can have mine
Yeah,
here.
they can take it all. And so they fed the babies, and we had church, and it was incredible. And we prayed for some people afterwards, and that was incredible.
Yeah.
And then we fed the church people. So we gave them bags of food, which
James told us about a lady with a knot on her neck.
yeah. So she had some thyroid condition. She said she's already had surgery, but it came back, and so they're wanting to do some more invasive stuff. And so we prayed for her, and she went through deliverance, and we watched it shrink down.
Praise
And I
God.
can't wait
Yes.
for Pastor David to call us and be like, it's completely gone.
Yes.
And that lady was so grateful, so relieved. She said, I feel so much better.
Uh-huh.
And it was just the power of God. Like, we didn't know what she was saying. She didn't know what we were saying. But in the spirit realm,
see,
we were
yeah.
communicating.
Yes, yes.
And it was just so incredible. And the gratitude, like, I think she kissed me all over my face because she was just overjoyed with the work that God had done through us in her. And like, such freedom. She experienced such freedom, and I didn't need her to tell me that.
Right,
I could
right.
see it on her. And
Right.
it was just so incredible because she does so much work at the church. She helps with the children. And she was the lady that was telling us that all they had was a cookie and some coffee. And
Wow.
like, her heart for these babies and her heart for her community, God saw that and he honored that. And,
Right.
and he used complete strangers.
So now this is a church that's in the village where y'all go to?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So this is it was Pastor Ortiz, I think that's how you say
Okay.
his name.
Now is that who David Burkett hooks up with to
Yes,
do that?
he actually passed away not too long ago, but his wife is still doing it, and they brought in another pastor, and now his son is going to ministry school, seminary type thing, and so he hopefully will take over. So yes, Pastor David works with this pastor. He works with some other pastors too, but this is the one in the village that we go to.
Okay.
So the village is kind of centered around this church. So there's the church, there's a little activity type building where they're doing some sewing class, and then the orphanage, and then outside of that is the village.
Okay.
And by village I just mean some like houses thrown together because they
Right.
do squatters' rights, and so
Right.
to move in you just move in.
So if anybody's listening that would be interested in wanting to donate specifically to that church, they would go through Faith Missions,
Yeah, so,
ministries, and specifically say for church in Mexico or however
Yeah, you would just say, I don't know what the church is called, because it's in Spanish, but
Right.
Well, I mean, David
it's
would
you.
have them,
You just tell him the church in Blanca Navidad, or you can say White Christmas. Pastor David will know what you're talking about, and you can go through their Facebook. His wife, Miss Amy, runs it, and it's Faith Ministries Incorporated.
Okay.
And you can find it if you go to the UpCog Facebook, or if you go to my Facebook. I've shared a lot of their stuff, or
Okay.
Megan Doolittle has shared a lot of their stuff.
Okay.
Or you could reach out to one of us.
Yeah.
I'm sure if like you wanted to donate to UpCog, we could like
Send it to
facilitate those funds to David if we
Yeah.
needed to.
I
Yeah,
just know,
because-
because we gave to David for his church when
Right.
his church was messed up.
Yeah.
But I mean to specifically say, here's X amount of dollars I want to give to the church
Yeah.
in your village that you work at. You know what I mean? Like specifically for specific use, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Whatever.
And real quick about David. David's been a part of, well, he's from this area,
Yes.
but he's been doing this ministry his whole life because his father started the ministry down there. So,
Right.
I mean, he's totally invested. His whole family lives in that region.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
Oh.
All of
They're
them.
awesome.
They do a circuit through to gather funds and all
Yeah,
kinds of
they're
Christmas
actually
presents and
coming.
all. So,
They're actually coming on their little tour thing. They won't be back in El Cenizo until August. He left right after we did,
Right.
shortly
Okay.
after we did. And I got the privilege of really getting to know his youngest daughter, Rebecca, on this trip. And I was talking to her. I was like, so
that's
you.
the young girl that was with y'all because she,
Mhm.
'cause
Yeah.
I was like, I know I've seen her before.
Yeah, that's their youngest daughter, Rebecca, the last one at home. And she is a junior in high school. And I was asking her, I was like, so you've lived here your whole life. And she's, I think, the only one that's lived in El Cenizo her whole life. And she was like, yep. And we were just talking about in the joy that she experiences working alongside of her father, because she came with us Wednesday to church and she came with us Thursday to the orphanage. And like, she wasn't just passive with it. She was actively engaged in everything. And like, she has her own relationship with the Lord. And it's
Right.
beautiful because a lot of the times I've seen it before, like your parents are so involved and you just go to go because you're supposed to.
You kind of drug along and you
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
But it wasn't like that. Like Pastor David asked her if she wanted to go and
Right.
said she didn't have to. She could do whatever. She didn't go Monday or Tuesday. She worked and hung out with her friends, but like she wanted to go.
Right.
And the love that she has for people didn't come from her father. It
Right.
came from God.
Yeah.
And I just it was such a joy to get to know her because you don't see that often.
Especially in the young.
Yeah, especially when your parents have been in ministry, your grandparents have been in ministry, you've been surrounded by ministry, but the ministry she's been surrounded by has been genuine, it has been authentic, and she sees the power of God.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I had got a word for her and I prayed for her, and it was just so overwhelming, like how Father was trying to speak to
Yeah.
her. And he used me. I mean, he could use her
And you-
dad.
right.
But he
right.
used me, and I just was like, wow, God, she's so special. We need more people like
Yeah.
that
That's
who
the-
have their own heart.
That's the awesome.
Because David and his ministry, I mean, they're the real deal.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he lives it, preaches it, walks the walk, talks the talk. I mean, he does it all
Well, so
100%.
Tell me about this. So y'all do the church, you build the house. Now you go to the orphanage.
Yes. So on Thursday, we normally don't go to the orphanage. We normally pick up the little babies and take them to the zoo. But the zoo was closed. And I was a little upset because I really liked the zoo. But I also got a little anxious because Megan asked me to teach a craft with the children. And the devil fought that so much. Like, I teach the kids all the time.
Right. I was going to say.
And I was like, why am I getting anxious? Why am I getting nervous? And I just had James pray with me because I was like, dude, I'm flipping out. I don't know what to do. And what Father had dropped in my spirit was to tell them about his promises, that he is a promise keeper. And that's what he's been speaking to me. That's what he's been demonstrating
Girl,
in my life.
Come on.
And Jasmine Soto normally comes with us, and she's the one who really sent the idea of the craft we were making, because I was like, I'll do whatever, Father. And it was the first craft that she sent, and it was a rainbow kite. And so you make you get a plate, you put some cotton balls on it, you put little stringy thingies. And I was like, this is simple, this is sweet. God, they're gonna think this is foolish.
So it wasn't really a kite.
Well, no, you put it on a string and you fly it around with your hand. It's
Yeah.
like a hand kite, not like a
Yeah.
wind kite.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I was like, God, they're going to think I'm childish or foolish or whatever. And he was like, well, are you going to tell them what I told you to tell them? And I was like, okay. So we get there. Everyone was being so helpful. I was about to cry. I was so overwhelmed because there were so many babies. There were 20 of them from all ages.
There's one little girl that was just a cutie.
She was so precious, wasn't she? So we had little tiny babies, all the way up to these teenagers. And I was like, God, you're going to have to do this. And so we gave them pizza, and then we went out to the craft. And I mean, I'm shaking. I don't get like that at all. And I was like, somebody hold me.
Yeah.
So I go to start teaching, and Pastor David is translating for me, obviously, because they don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what they're saying. And we start talking about what God laid on my heart. And I asked them if they knew what the rainbow meant, and they answered it. And I asked them if they knew about Noah. And I was like, what did Noah do that was so impressive to God? And they were like, he obeyed him. And boy, I about started crying. The people have poured into these children. And we got to meet the mother of the house, and the respect that they had for her and how they listened to her and the knowledge that was flowing out of them was wrecking my heart. They came from nothing. But you would never know that, how respectful they were and how well-mannered they were. And they enjoyed that craft.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, and the most important thing that I told them was, when you look at this rainbow, I want you to remember every promise that God's ever given you, because he's gonna fulfill it. And Pastor David shared some of the promises that had been fulfilled in his life. And I had goosebumps from the top of my head to the soles of my feet, because God did something so impressive. And if you were looking with your natural eyes, you wouldn't have seen it.
Right.
But like, God allowed me to see how he had planted in each one of them and given me the opportunity to water that. And I was just like, when we left, I cried the entire way
I'm wanting
across
to
the
cry
border.
right now thinking about it, because I think of those little children, and it's like,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, because I mean, people label them as orphans, and when I think of an orphan, I think of Annie, obviously, and like that just hopelessness, and like how I could hear them thinking in my head, you know, how is God gonna ever give me anything he's promised? I don't even have a parent.
Right.
Like these babies have been surrendered to this lady because their parents couldn't care for them or didn't want to care for them.
They don't have adoption, or
Not really.
Yeah.
And they don't have like services like DSS or anything like. So their parents literally dropped these babies off.
Yeah.
Or their parents died or something like that. And so like this lady and these ladies that come around are the only people that they have. And David looked at me and he said, they're going to forever remember that American that came in and spent time with them.
I'm sitting here thinking, and you know, I go back to that song that we all know, but I think about that so literally, is that thank you for giving to the Lord.
Yeah.
I am a life that was changed.
Yeah.
That makes me cry.
I know, it was so beautiful. And so Life Choices donated some prayer bears, because Thursday, the last day that I worked, this lady came in and she brought all these little prayer bears, and they had this cute little poem, and I was like, Miss Gay, I've got to take these to the orphanage. And she said, take them, take as many as you need.
Right.
And so I translated the little prayer thing, and I put it in there, and I took them those bears, and that was the picture that you were talking about, Mr. Bill. That baby was clinging to that bear.
she was a pretty little thing too.
I couldn't take it. I was like, I thought that what I was doing was not going to be appreciated, that it was just going to be something else to do for the kids, to keep them busy, to occupy them. And I was like, God, I feel like I'm doing absolutely nothing. And when I saw that little girl holding that bear, he was like, you've done everything. And there was another little boy, he was so sweet. He kept smiling at me and rocking his bear and just holding it so tight. And I was like, he's going to forever think of me when he looks at that bear, because he ran up to me and gave me a hug and said thank you. And then after we got through with the lesson, we played with them a little bit, and then we had to go. And so we said our goodbyes, and I walked up to the sister that runs the orphanage, and she speaks very good English. And she had been telling me about some of the concerns with the children, and I told her I'd pray for them specifically. And there was a sweet little girl, her name's Anna, and so she's at the top of my prayer list, because God highlighted her, and then the mother of the house highlighted her. And so I was like, I got you, Lord. But as we were talking, she grabbed me, the mother of the house did, and she was like, thank you for what you've done. I had already thanked her for all the hard work, and she took the time to pause and thank me, and she said, you are making a difference, and what you have done won't go unnoticed. Like, God sees it. And she said everything that I needed to hear, because before I went to Mexico, the devil had beat me down so much. I was like, I don't know if I can keep doing any of it, God. Like, I don't think I can. And he provided the way for me to go to Mexico. I knew I was supposed to go, but I didn't know how I was going to get there, and he provided the way. And when I got there, he met me. Not that he wasn't meeting me here, but it was something so special to have complete strangers who can't even understand me cry because they were sad I was leaving.
Right.
There was something so special about having this lady who has literally given her life to serve these children thank me. And all I did was told them to glue some string on a paper plate. And she thanked me for what I had done. I was like, God, wow, I don't want to leave.
That's just...
It was so beautiful. And I cried the entire way across the border. I cried the next 2 days when we were driving. It was a mess.
Yeah, I love hearing those stories every year when y'all come back from Mexico, and would really love to go and be a part of it.
Yeah, you definitely
have to plan.
should.
My thing is, more than anything, it's not even the work in Mexico, it's the drive to and from.
Right.
So,
I love the drive.
do you really?
Yeah, you really get to know someone when you're in the car with them. Like, you can really see the work the Lord has or hasn't done in their lives when you're riding in the car with them for
That's funny.
hours.
Now, well, we went to West Virginia for our
Yeah.
vacation. They're just as bad off in some places in West Virginia as they are in Mexico, unfortunately. Now, their level of poor is probably a couple steps higher than the level
Right.
of poor in Mexico, but there's still a need in the West Virginia, Kentucky area because
I've
they've
been to
lost
Kentucky.
they've lost the industry up there, which is coal industry, and they've Virginia and West Virginia and Kentucky have put these trails in for the people that ride side by sides to come in, and you have to buy permits to ride on the trails, which help the state funded
Right,
programs that they have. So in a way, we're helping the poor because they use the money that is collected to pay for like the welfare system, and
We went through. We had a ball, first of all,
Yeah.
riding through the mountains and these trails. This
the
is
trail
something you
system is
would
phenomenal.
love, Cassie.
I know. I need to go get a side by side.
And we had so much fun, but really not really realizing the towns that we went to were town to town across the mountain between here and there, whatever.
Yeah.
And how poor these places really
Yeah, we
were.
don't
I mean,
think about it.
like us going through the mountain and seeing a house that had tarps over the part of the roof with tires on the roof holding
Right.
the tarp on to keep the rain out, and a pipe coming out the window, which was probably where they get their heat from an
Right.
old stove or whatever. I mean, and just stuff. The level of poverty was not lost on us. I mean, we're there to have vacation and have fun, and we did. But my heart went out to these communities and these people that just, and they were so kind to us. I mean, in these communities. and stuff.
And they've got a strong church, especially in West
Ooh,
Virginia.
yeah.
In Mercer County, where we were at, the church is there, and they're very visible. And I'm sure they're struggling also because those poor people are part of the congregations, and if you don't have money, you don't have money, period.
Right.
But you got Jesus, so.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it was an experience that we would definitely love to go back to the trails again. Maybe
Yeah.
try the Kentucky
I would
side,
like to
or
do
the
a
West-
missionary trip there
Something
to
like
West
that.
Virginia,
I'm
Kentucky,
telling
to
you.
kind of help
Yeah.
out.
Well, and when I was in college, that's what we did. FCA, we did local,
Right.
national mission trips. We went to Indiana, Philadelphia, Baltimore, and Memphis. And you would be surprised, which you shouldn't be surprised, because you can go look down the street. I know a very specific street
Yeah.
in the valley that you can go look down, and the level of poverty, but it's like we blind our eyes to it. We get accustomed to looking at it, and our water works and our electricity works, and we don't have a hole in our roof, so we're good. And so taking those blinders off is really the first step, and being able to go somewhere intentionally, or go somewhere while you're going to have fun, and realize that we've got to love everyone. Like Pastor Bill George talked about loving your neighbor this past Sunday, and I think it was so fitting and poignant and right on time, because every person we meet is our neighbor, and if we don't have love in our heart for them, then there's no way to help them, and everyone needs help, even rich people, because money is not always the issue. Most of the time it's a heart thing.
Right. You're exactly right.
Because I don't diss, because I love David, and they
have a phenomenal
and he's put the work in, bless his heart, and he's dedicated to those people, and that's a wonderful thing. My mission's heart is here in this country because there's a need there, and I'm not dissing any church that has faraway missions, but you're stepping over poor people to get to other poor people.
And you should do both. There's no reason that you can't support international missions while also being the hands and the feet here. Like David lives in El Cenizo, Texas, and the ministry that he is doing in El Cenizo, Texas is amazing.
Like, it's not just over in Mexico.
Half of the time that we worked, and I mean, we worked from sun up to sundown. I'm not even going to front. I was tired. But that was because we helped rebuild David's church. We went to Mexico, we built the house, we came home, we laid ceiling tiles, put up insulation, and that may sound easy, but you come do it. It was hard.
Girl. That's a lot of work.
I was covered in insulation.
100-degree heat.
Oh yeah, and there was no air. It was hot, but it was worth it. And that's what I told Brother David. I was like, there's no one else I'd rather sweat, bleed, and cry for, because of the ministry that you're doing and your heart. Like, if you asked me to do anything, I would do it, just because I'm here to serve you. That's what God has sent me to do. And like, yes, I want to minister to everyone else, but I was sent to serve Pastor David. And it just like realizing that there's need right outside your front window. You don't have to go to Mexico to make a difference. Like, you can make a difference right here where you are.
Right. And, we think about that even, like the difference you make at Life Choices and the donations that they need to help these people. I think of Acts.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think of Augusta Rescue Mission. I mean, if you want to donate food and stuff, they bring people in and give them a place to sleep at night, food to eat, a place to shower, and then they send them out during the day to go, I guess, try to find work or do something,
Yeah, absolutely.
There's so many areas around here that people can be a part of if they want to. Sometimes because of your job, you can't actually go and physically do what needs to be done, but you can say, hey, I've got the money and resources that I can give to this ministry.
Absolutely.
So that because it takes all of us.
That's right. And like, a lot of people did that from our church. Like 7 of us went to Mexico, but we took the money and the hearts and the love of our entire congregation. And when Megan was like, Cassie, make this video, post these pictures, she was like, I want to make sure that these people who spent their hard-earned money know exactly what we bought with them, know exactly what we did, know exactly how much God accomplished through us all, because we couldn't have done it without people volunteering their money.
Like Sister Schaefer, she gives money specifically for candy for the kids.
Yeah.
Get them babies
we got
candy.
them so much candy. Big bags of candy.
And the response, even when Pastor Dave and them's church.
Right.
And I sent a text. As soon as I saw that on Facebook, it just happened. I sent a text to Pastor Schaefer and I said, we've got it. Now, we support them.
Yes.
Always. But I was like, we need to do something. We need to send them some money.
And talking to Pastor David about it, like the way God provided, he didn't ask for anything.
I know.
And so they had a roofer come, and the roofer showed up one day and then just never came back. And David was like, I'm not going to worry. God's going to do it the very next day. This was like the week before we got there. The very next day, some roofer comes and is like, God told me to come fix your roof. And so he came and he fixed it just in time for us to get there. Like, we wouldn't have been able to do anything if he
Right.
hadn't had
If the
that
roof hadn't
tin
been done.
roof
Right.
up. And so he put the roof up, and then God lined everything up. And Mr. James asked Pastor David, and he was like, do you need anything? Like, I'll give you whatever you need. And he was like, nah, brother, God is taking care of everything.
See?
And I'm just like, what faith? One, and that was part of the word that I had for Pastor David. Like, his faith is what allows God to work so freely in his life to take care of everything that he needs. Like, oftentimes it's our own lack of belief or our lack of faith that keeps God from blessing us.
You know, Pastor preached on that
Exactly.
2 weeks ago.
Yes.
That was the best, one of the best.
I know, I'm like,
About your faith. That's the easiest thing that God gives you. You know, it's
Yeah.
the only thing you can give to God that he gives back to you.
Yeah.
That he, I mean,
yeah, and I got to see a living, breathing picture of someone who wraps everything in faith.
Yeah.
And like,
You have to.
it was
In that
incredible.
situation.
It was incredible, and that's how he is able to do everything, to build these houses, to build these churches, to run these congregations, to have his hand in so many different things because of his faith. It doesn't limit God.
We were talking yesterday before church. Zach and I were talking, and he said, we're talking about different ways that God answers prayers that
Yeah.
you don't, you know, just in your faith. And thinking about that, this is so. That Sunday morning when we got up to give the announcement, hey, we're taking up a special offering. The church had already deemed the amount of money we were giving as a church, but we will always try to give everybody opportunity to be a part of it
Right.
if they want to give. And so, you know, when I'm making that announcement, and as I'm speaking it to the congregation, I hear the Lord tell me a number. I need you to give this in that offering. And I immediately, you know how you meet, I was like,
Yeah.
but Lord, you know, I'm having this conversation. Lord, this money that we have left from the sale of our houses is to get our land cleared. And, you know, Lord, you know, you're making all these excuses, but in obedience, I walked down from that podium, grabbed my wallet, went out to the little kiosk and paid it in, you know, like an immediate thing. No lie, the next, that was on, so was it 2 days later? I'm at work and I have somebody come in and say, "Yeah, we've been blessed with this, so we're going to clear your land for free."
Oh my goodness.
No lie. I mean,
Well,
you can't
can't outget
you
God.
can't outgive God. And I wanted to give that illustration because I wanted,
Yeah.
you know, to encourage maybe somebody, if God's telling you to give or do
Do it.
just do it in obedience
Yeah.
and trust Him.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, Lord, here you go.
That's
know.
right. He never wants us to give out of our comfort zone or our overflow. Like, he wants us to be that lady that came and brought the last little cents that she had, because it's about depending on him, knowing that you didn't get that money. Like, he
Right.
gave
He
you that
gave
money.
it,
You
yeah.
may have worked for
Well,
it, but he gave it to you.
Yes,
well, the
absolutely.
good thing she knows too, that if God tells her to give something, I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
say,
I mean, it's
well, he ain't
it's
tell me
never
that.
You know, it's
I mean,
never
I'm
I'm
like
glad
that.
you're not like that.
No, it's never like that, and
Nope.
I mean, vice versa. But the reason I wanted to say that is maybe to encourage someone, you know, because you cannot outgive God
That's
and
right.
the faith. But I think hearing the way Pastor preaches on that,
Yeah.
in obedience to that, it's like, just do it.
Yeah.
Because I personally can give you hundreds of
Oh my
examples
gosh.
of where we obeyed, and
Absolutely.
mean,
I'm
And
well,
how God has come
we were
through on stuff.
we were coming back from West Virginia, and when we walked in, we went to Waffle House, and there was a grandmother and her grandson sitting there
That
eating,
was so funny.
and this child was steady shoveling food in his mouth and steady talking at
It
the
was
same
so
time.
funny. We were listening and
And
laughing.
he was talking loud, you know. How about this? What kind of car you like, Grandma?
Grandma,
I like,
would you like
yeah.
a black Chrysler or a white Kia? I mean, he was giving her all these. And she said, neither.
Yeah.
I like, you know, whatever. It was just funny.
So I said, you know what? I'm gonna pay it forward. I'm gonna buy that breakfast. Well, they'd already paid and was just sitting there, you know, enjoying each other's company. So I was like, well, Lord, send me somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in walked this Navy recruiter.
Mhm.
He sat
Little young guy.
behind us. So I said, I got you. So I went ahead and paid it forward. You know, and that simple gesture, I hope, because we got up and left, and you know, you don't talk to him, you just pay it
Yeah.
and leave. I hope it either brightened his day or made him realize, hey, there's good people still out there. So
The story that I love about that, even in that situation, something that is so simple,
Mm-hmm.
God showed us again. It was so funny.
Right.
We were eating, and
That's what
I
I
may
was-
have told this, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to. I'll go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say we were eating at
Right.
our favorite restaurant here in Aiken with our grandson, and we get, ask for our check, and the waitress comes back and says, somebody's already covered your bill, and we're like, oh, wow, well, praise God. And JC was like, what? And we
People
said,
do
yes,
that?
somebody, yeah. So we got to, explain
Explain
to
it to
Jace.
him.
So a couple weeks go by, and we're in Columbia. We go to Lizard Thicket to eat, and I may have shared this, and
Yeah, we were gonna. A couple was sit behind us. Was saying they were passing through, and I looked at Dana. I said we need to get their check because they're passing through, and at least let them feel a little bit better about South Carolina.
love of
Yeah.
South Carolina,
So I
right?
called the waitress over, and she said, oh, "Okay, yeah, sure." Well, she comes back later and says, "Don't worry about it. Everything's been taken care of."
Well, yeah, she comes back, she hands us their check.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Bill said, well, where's ours? She said, don't worry about it. Yours has been taken care of. So,
And
Yeah,
I was
you
like,
know-
"Hold up, you don't understand. We won't pay our check and their check."
but she
you know?
said, no. She said,
that's
yours
what
was taken care of.
Yeah.
So
because-
we called Jason, let him know this is how God works, bud.
So just talking in the goodness of God and how
Right.
he,
Yeah.
shows you. And something so simple as that.
Yeah,
You
and,
know?
and you don't give to receive.
No, no,
but
no.
You give
We-
from the goodness of your heart, and that's what God blesses.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Oh.
think it was so cool, though, that, here we were just going to pay for this couple's
Right.
lunch.
Yeah,
No big
just
deal.
being a sweetheart.
And then God in turn showed us his
Yeah.
goodness.
And he was
paid-
like, "Hey, I got you."
yeah.
Right.
So anyway, I just
Mm.
love that. So maybe
Yeah.
that encourages some people
Because
today.
a friend of ours, he works at a local manufacturing here that when he goes through their drive-through, he doesn't have to pay for anything.
Mm-hmm.
So what he does is he gets the person behind him.
That's sweet.
I don't have to pay for mine, but what's their check behind them? I'll go ahead and pay for that. So
Yeah, and
um,
just when we surrender to God like
Yes.
that, He's gonna use it to bless that person, but He can also use that to bless us. And it's not about the blessing; it's about being obedient. But like we gotta realize He is a good God. He is a
Yes.
good
Yes.
Father, and He's going to bless His
Mhm.
faithful, obedient children.
and if
Yes.
you're looking for a ministry, I mean, do the pay it forward ministry. I mean,
Yeah.
every time you're in a
Right.
drive-through, pay it. I mean,
Yeah, and there's something so
Grab the
beautiful
person
about
behind you.
those small acts of kindness,
Mhm.
and they mean so much. Like I thought making this rainbow with these children was going to be foolish, and
right.
I thought that they were going to laugh at me, and
Even
that
if
was
they
just-
laughed, honey, it would still be providing joy.
it was just the devil, and it
Right.
meant so much more than I'll probably, even looking in the spiritual, I'll probably ever realize. Like I probably won't
Right.
realize until heaven just how much
Uh-huh.
that meant to those
Sure.
babies and those people, and
Mhm.
like you never know what small act of kindness is going to mean so much in the kingdom of God.
Right.
And just paying it forward, that person behind you, and I mean, I know this is an exaggeration, but they could be contemplating suicide because no
Yeah.
one cares.
Yeah, and then you
Yeah.
just showed them that this complete stranger cares, so obviously someone
Someone
made
cares.
that
It-
stranger
it could
care.
be, wow, God, you
Yeah.
trying to tell me something,
Yeah.
whatever. So
Yeah, because I hear God the clearest and the loudest in the smallest little things. Like all week, He was talking to me through these monarch butterflies that were making their travel through Texas to go further south. And like, I heard Him more in those butterflies than
Uh-huh.
I did people preaching, people talking to me, people trying to encourage me. Not that I didn't get from all those other things, but like, God was so loud in the small, quiet,
Mhm.
intimate
Mhm.
conversation that we were having, and like that's how He operates. So when you're doing something small and it may feel insignificant to you, like God is speaking so loudly through that.
right. Right.
Hey, something God just laid on my heart. Rachel Glanton just said, "Hey, y'all,"
Hey,
and
Rachel. Good
I
morning.
know she's a praying person. And she's not gonna mind me sharing it, but her car caught on fire, burned to a crisp, every bit of it.
Last Thursday, I believe.
Yeah, it's just frame left. So she doesn't have a car. So what I'm gonna put out there is, if you have a car that
Hallelujah,
could bless
Jesus.
Rachel, be it new or slightly used, contact her, contact the radio station, contact me, Dana, Kathy, whoever. But goes, and if anybody watches or listens to WCC, Rachel's got a couple programs on. She's been on here.
Yeah.
quite
Yes,
frequently.
absolutely.
She is a professional prayer.
Yes.
If you need prayer, she'll slap one on you real quick.
And
She sure
you know, I
will.
want to tell you a story real quick. This isn't about Rachel, but this is about somebody.
Mm-hmm.
My brother and sister-in-law went through a time a while back where a season and their car got totaled, and she's a stay-at-home mom with 3 kids. My brother makes decent money, but I mean, it was a struggle for. Anyway, one of their friends at their church gave them a car.
Praise
like
God.
it wasn't brand new.
It was
you know,
nice, though.
it was a nice car, and they drove it till they financially could get them one,
And
and
they
then they
blessed somebody.
gave that to somebody
to
else.
someone else. Wow. And that's how it should be.
And
Right.
I just, you know, and when you said that, made me think of that because they blessed someone else with. I mean, they could have sold it; it was theirs to do what they wanted with.
Right.
And they
yeah.
said, we were blessed with this. Now we're fixing to bless
That's
somebody
right.
else.
So if
Yeah.
you have a vehicle, please let us know.
Yeah, and I can't think of a more deserving
Yeah.
person than Rachel. Like the faith that she has, just trusting the Lord. And oh my goodness, I would cry my eyeballs out. I'm going to when somebody blesses her with this.
I know. And I'm going to tell you something. So I'm going to tell you a story about her. She's listening. She'll probably whatever. One night I had a situation going on. And when it happened, I called her. I was like, I just got to call somebody that I know that'll pray with me, you know.
Yeah.
And she, of course, immediately started praying and encouraging and all that. And I love, she's so good. She said, I need you to go to your bookshelf and get such and such book and such and such. I'm like, I don't know if I have that book. She said, yeah, you do. She said, I saw it in one of your pictures on between the pages. Go to your bookshelf. Is this colored? And I got up
Yeah,
and went in there. And I was
she
like,
loves books.
I was like, what? So there was that book. But anyway, she was on the phone with me for probably 2 hours.
Yeah.
Praying, talking, helping me through, you know, just work through the situation and stuff. So I love Rachel. I
I
love
know
my
she's,
sister. And we're fixing to go on a trip together in a couple days
Oh, that's so fun.
to Tampa, Florida with the radio station to do some work.
Oh,
And
yeah.
God has some big plans for that.
Oh, he
I'm
sure
so
does.
excited
Hope
about
so.
it. But anyway, so
Yeah, Rachel is it's just phenomenal the way that she'll give of herself to pray for someone. And like when I was on the trip, I encountered a lot of spiritual warfare. It's a lot more than I ever thought I could manage. And she was always just a text away.
Yeah.
And so I texted her probably every day and was like, y'all pray. And I didn't have to tell her what was going on. The Holy
doesn't
Spirit
matter.
told her. Like she's going to listen to the Holy Spirit before she starts praying, and she's going to come into agreement with God's will for the situation. And that's the type of person you want praying. I don't want someone who's going to manipulate the prayer or try to manipulate me. I want someone who's going to pray the will of
you
God.
know what I think is so funny, and she'll get this when I say it. When Rachel is what I call what by the world standard would be called your weird friend.
Yeah, she's my peculiar friend.
She's my peculiar friend, my peculiar people, and I
Yep.
love that.
Yeah,
You know, and it's so because that's what we're supposed to be.
that's right. I find myself becoming more and more like
yes.
Rachel, and I'm like, praise God. I'm a little nervous
yeah.
though.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm so tired of worrying about.
What
They're
the
not gonna
world
like
may
me.
think.
They're
not
That's
gonna
call
exactly
me,
That's
right,
right.
you
brother.
know,
That's
because
exactly right.
I mean Jesus has got me,
That's right.
and if I don't have anything but Jesus, hey, that's
That's
good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You got
yeah. Well, he
everything
calls
you
us
need.
a peculiar people, a royal priesthood. He called us into his marvelous light, not so that we can shine for ourselves, but so that we can shine for him.
Yes.
And Rachel does that so beautifully because she's not concerned with what the world says about
And
her.
I love that.
She's
I love
only
that.
concerned with God. And it makes me think of that passage in Acts, and it says that we can't bow to the opinions of men.
That's-
And like she embodies that so beautifully. And I'm like, that's something I can aspire to.
yeah, Rachel, we love you. Let's
Because,
give a few shout outs, guys, because we got
My buddy Tom Sanders.
good morning, Tom.
Yes, listening.
Mary Hannah,
Mary
thank
Hannah,
you for joining us.
hello.
BJ Boat. is
Good
watching.
morning, BJ.
Deidre said said
Deidre, good morning,
Hey,
Deidre.
girl.
And,
Connie Story, and my Aunt Gail all the way from Sarasota, Florida.
Hi,
And,
Aunt Gail.
William Moore. Say
Yeah,
good
good
morning.
morning, William.
Zach Hawkins said, good morning. I love y'all.
Good
We love
morning,
you too,
Zach.
bro.
We sure do.
Yeah,
We
you
do.
all right.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. But anyway, so great. I mean, y'all, an hour's gone by, and it's been.
Let me talk about if you only have Jesus, then you have more than enough.
You got that right,
Man, BJ.
BJ. You got that right.
Let me talk about West Virginia a little bit more.
West Virginia.
Hey, we want to be sure and talk about what happened at April and Paul's church.
Yes, that too. We'll cover
Okay.
that next.
Okay.
We went up there for vacation to ride the Hatfield and McCoy Trail System in West Virginia. They also have what they call the Virginia Trail Heads, which is the original Pocahontas Trail, and I think 2 other trails in Virginia.
Oh,
We
wow.
It was
we rode that too. We probably put 100 miles on our side by side, which doesn't sound like a lot,
Sounds
but
like a lot to me.
unless you're riding through the mountains.
yeah,
Yeah.
mountain trail might have been 100 miles long, but it was only about 4 foot wide. So, but going up the mountain seems like a lot, but you're not really going mileage per se. You know, you're
Yeah.
only going like 500 feet, but it's straight up. So, very enjoyable time. The woods were lush because
It was
they've been getting plenty of rain up there,
Yes.
which created mud for us, which was fun.
What you wanted.
Fun, right?
And we rode old riverbeds. We rode old railroad
Tracks.
tracks.
Uh-huh.
Thingies. We rode like just trails.
Rocks.
Yeah,
We
a bunch of
climbed
rocks. And just like the trails that have been ancient trails is the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
That have been there forever. It was just so green and so beautiful. We saw flowers I'd never seen
I
before.
know. We even stopped and took a picture. And I was like, "What kind of
I
flowers?
love
That is
flowers.
beautiful."
It was kind of like a wild
the wild
azalea or something,
azalea
but
tree type thing. It was beautiful.
You didn't get us no cuttings.
No, I
No.
wasn't sure if I.
we
you know,
passed
it's
it on
like-
20 mile an hour. Girl. I wasn't slowing down.
We just
I was
stopped. I
listening.
didn't get a picture of it. Though.
You know, I was listening for banjos the whole time, but
Did you find any?
no.
Oh.
we thought we did a few times though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a couple of people sitting on porches that should have had a banjo, but anyway, we waved at them. Hey, how you doing? It was just a beautiful, and I have to say, West Virginia caters to the side-by-side people and the four-wheeled people.
Yeah.
If you go up there, the people the servers, the workers, everywhere we went were just super nice. Oh, you up here for vacation doing the side by? Yeah. Oh, I hope y'all enjoy it. You know, let us know if you need anything. Let us know if there's any problems on the trails. So we really appreciated it. But it was just beautiful.
It
I
really
mean,
was.
for
It's
lack
hard-
of a better,
It's hard to explain.
Because you don't
experience
realize-
was so much fun.
you know, because I've always heard about coal mines, and we actually drove through a coal mine that was still in
Really?
operation. Yeah, and they pulverizing it now, and I don't know if that's because what they're getting is smaller than the big chunks that they used to get, or what. But it's a different process now. It's more powdered than the big chunks. But I did get a good piece of coal that we
So
found in
is
the woods.
coal charcoal? Or are they
No,
different?
It's different. It's
Okay.
it's more compressed. I mean,
Okay.
because you got like charcoals, which is a burnt. Wood been burnt. That's
Okay.
compressed now. Coal is actually a rock or mineral that they get out of the earth.
Okay.
Coal,
Looks the same though.
Yeah,
Black.
Sounds
like that.
similar.
yeah, pressure on coal
Will make a
turns it
diamond.
right.
Yeah.
So,
You could also put it in peanut butter.
or,
I saw a hack on Facebook.
or coal.
Uh-huh.
What you gonna do?
If
with
you put it
peanut
on
butter?
peanut butter and then put it in ice, it'll turn it into a diamond too.
Oh Lord.
Well, it's
you-
not as high quality
Oh,
as the
but it
pressurized
makes it
diamond, but
shine-
it's
right.
still like
Gotcha, I see what you're
glitzy
saying.
and clear.
Shiny and clear.
Yeah.
I don't know about all that, but anyway.
I watched
We
it
need to
on
try
Facebook.
that.
Yeah, well then it's got to be true.
Yeah, that's right.
But I got a piece of coal I'm gonna shellac and put on a piece of wood.
I love that shellac.
It says West Virginia. Because that's what I was singing the whole time.
Yeah, that's what I was singing
Yeah.
every time we talked about y'all.
We were-
So what we wanted to tell people a lot of is if you're looking for a place to go to decompress, to really just not have to think. Like I told Bill, I said it doesn't sound like much unless you're a female that has to get up every day, do your hair, do your makeup, get dressed for work, put on. Like we never touch makeup, blow dryers,
Yeah.
like ponytail showers. Just you're good to get the mud off.
Right.
And the cold dust.
And the coal dust.
You don't
and
realize
it's-
how black coal is until it
and
gets on you.
And so much laughter.
Yeah.
And so much fun. We went with 2 other couples, had a ball with. We stayed in one big house. We all cooked together. And
Wow.
I mean,
And we
we'd
had
load
problems.
up-
You know, we had flat tires. We had broke axles. We had
just
bearings
stuff-
go bad. So, and that's all a part of it.
It was fun though. So if you don't have a side by side, or if you do,
Mhm.
you need to go experience this.
Yeah, I kind of want to. I think that would be fun. I think it would be fun to take the youths up there and go do that. That may be a little dangerous.
Yeah, it might be a little bit
Well,
dangerous.
I mean, if you got the right person driving, it
driving,
wouldn't
right.
So
yeah.
you gonna drive them?
be. Yeah, I'll drive 3 of them.
Yeah, we can
Oh.
do 3 in hours. But anyway,
It's
it
just
was,
the fact that very little money was involved. We spent money because I got to eat, but
Same.
yeah. So, but we rode down to this one small
Oh,
town
yeah.
that had a corner
it's called the corner shop,
shop, and it still had the old fountain,
soda fountain.
soda fountain inside, and it was.
And they made their homemade
I mean,
ice
you
cream there.
you walked in,
Nice
and it was
girl.
like you stepped back in time. You
Yeah.
know, if you looked at the woodwork and the bar that was in there, because they used to compound pharmacy. It was a old compound pharmacy and all that. Well, we had a hamburger in there that was probably
And
one of the best I'd ever
I had a
had.
chocolate milkshake. They laughed at me. I said, I got to take a picture of this thing before I touch it.
Yeah, it was
Best
pretty.
milkshake I've ever had, hands down.
Wow.
Now,
It was so
I
good.
was promised a banana split, but we never
We
got
never
back
made
up
it
there.
back.
So
Oh,
I missed out on
goodness.
that. But
Well, we can get you one down here. I like ice cream.
April says she's watching from Barnwell. She's having a vacation in Barnwell again. she's
We miss you.
We do.
she's on vacation in Barnwell. And who else? Oh, and Aunt Gail said she loved the video of Dana driving. Well, now we've got a side by side that fits 4. We got front seat and back seat. Well, I took Dana on. She actually drove the Pocahontas Trail system by herself.
So fun.
We went through there. Well, the next day, I said, "Hey, I'm gonna get in the back seat, and you ride me around the Pocahontas Trail because I want to see how the back seat rides. That way, if someone asks, you know,
Yeah,
I
that's
say
smart.
no, it rides real good, and it does." So she ran me around the trail in the back seat. I had to start laughing because we saw, you know, several people, and I'm back there waving them. Hi, you
Like a
know.
little
Like
kid.
I'm the chauffeur.
Well, you know, I
I'm
will
probably
have to
thinking,
say,
bless his heart, he's so scared of his wife's driving, he's in the back seat.
I'll have to say the back seat of David Burkett, Pastor David Burkett's van does not ride that
Oh
well.
yeah.
I would hit my head so many times.
Ooh.
Yeah.
There's lots of bumps in Mexico.
Oh, there's lots of bumps
Bumps
on
up
these
there,
trails
too.
too, but you do have.
There's no head thing.
and you do have helmets on.
And I think your little shocks on your ATV probably a little
Right.
better.
Yeah.
Well, see, now we used to ride, you know, the Harleys and do all that, and I always remember when there was a crowd of us coming into a community, people would stop and just look, you know,
Mhm.
what are these people doing here? And I always enjoyed that because I'd wave, say, "Hi, how you doing?" I was always opposite of what they
expected.
yeah, expected.
Expected,
Yeah.
right.
So we're going down the highway in these side by sides, you know, and I'm thinking these people think the same thing. Oh
Yeah.
Lord, here they come. So I would do the same thing. Hi, how you doing?
I mean, once you get there, what's so cool
You don't
is
have
you can drive your side by side everywhere you go, cross the
You
mountain,
don't have
into
to
towns,
drive your.
Nope.
like we'd get in and
Wow.
go down
It's
the
a
road 3 miles and go to
rural
this little town.
2-lane road. You're
Mhm.
good.
I love that.
It was so much fun.
I got to do it now,
Yeah.
God. Come
Yeah.
on.
So
Yeah,
we
we got,
want to
uh,
plan another trip for
And we
sure.
got to see a bear.
A bear.
Yeah, and
I like
so
bears.
a bear.
we didn't
got
see a
to
bear.
Oh,
The people that were with us didn't get to see a bear. Like, you know, the old saying, does it go in the bathroom in the woods? But it does go on the trail.
Yeah.
It does
Okay.
do that.
yeah.
We know that for a fact.
Oops,
Little
no.
baby deer ran out in front of us,
Oh, yeah.
squealing, and
I
Dana's
mean,
like,
he-
"Don't hit him!" And I'm like, "Well, he's
What
falling in
happened
front
is
of
him
me."
and his mom was standing by the road, and as we come around the curve, the mother took off. Well, the baby got scared and tried.
Yeah.
So his little legs wobbled. He
Yeah.
fell down in front of us. Of course, we stopped. And he was crying like that and had all the little
Oh, he's
And
cute
then
though.
he got up and was standing on the side, and you could see him
He
looking
was
like that. And he was
terrified.
trying to take off, and we was like, "It's okay, baby. Go on back to the."
Oh my
I mean,
God.
it was like,
You gonna be okay? I'm like,
"Go find your mama. Go find your mama." You know.
Oh my goodness.
funniest
not the
thing though,
baby deer.
she'd ride me around the trail, She done terrorized this one squirrel twice.
Oh, God.
Every time the squirrel come out, he tried to cross the road. She comes zooming by him again. Well, this other squirrel, bless her heart, was in the middle of the trail. For some reason, he was digging in the mud. I pictured that little squirrel that's in them Ice Age movies. He was looking for that one acorn that he had to have. Well, homeboy's head was in the mud, and his little butt and tail was sticking up. And I said, "Uh-oh, well, he's probably still digging out of the mud because Dana ran right smack over him."
But it's kind of like
and
you only got so much room to go to on
right.
the trails, and it's like.
So she sent that little squirrel deep in the mud. I don't think it hurt him because it was real muddy.
Yeah.
But he probably wondered what happened. And I could hear him telling his other little buddies, what happened was I was digging for my acorn, and next thing I know, I woke up on the other side of the mountain.
That was funny
because she put him under the dirt. But
we did have a lot of fun. So I encourage you. I mean, and Bill said this. He said, "Man, we need to get some more of our friends that have these get together
involved.
And do a trip like this."
I'll go.
It is so much
Sign
fun.
me up. I'll sit in the back.
Because you can get a very good side by side for not a lot of money. You can go up there for not a lot of money, and you can.
Because honestly, once we got there, I mean, we spent money like a couple times going out to eat, but it was groceries in the house.
We spent the same money up there that we would have spent down here staying at home. So it wasn't like.
You got to eat.
Yeah, the rentals up there are not.
But it was so funny. The house we stayed in was it looked like an old converted gas station, but we're on the upper level. So none of the floors really level. So we were just, like kind of walking.
And if you, kind of weebly and wobbly like I am now in my older age, I was like, oh my God. I'd start walking towards the bathroom, and then I'd really start walking towards the bathroom. Half the time I'd miss it. I'd have to stop myself. I was like, great.
We got caught in a rainstorm. It was hilarious. Went through some trails that I thought I'd never go through because the trails were rated up either green, blue, black, or double black, which green is just the least. Intermediate is blue, so we stayed on those two. Then they have black and double black, which is rough,
scary, and double scary.
Yeah. Someone said it's the same system that they rate the snow.
Okay.
Ski slopes.
So anyway, we had to take a cut through on a black one day to try to get home and beat the
storm.
In the
middle of this was a deluge.
But it was funny. We were laughing.
We were in a canopy of these trees, and if it's raining at the bottom of the canopy, it's raining hard.
Yeah, because we were in the mountains and trees.
I mean, we had streams coming towards us going up the hill, mud streams coming down. It was... And
we were covered.
I'm not exaggerating. It
Landslide.
was right. It was, unreal. And we took it. We did it, and it was because I considered it a pleasure. I was like, this was a pleasure.
It was just fun
to go across this mountain in a thunderstorm because I experienced God's power, His mercy, His grace, everything. Because it was absolutely beautiful. Dana's job was to keep the condensation off the inside of our windshield. And my job was to drive us across.
We had so much fun. It was a lot of laughter and fun. But anyway, so we've talked about our last couple of weeks.
Now at April's church, and I'm
Sunday,
and I'm gonna add my thoughts on it. They had the pleasure of having evangelist Nikita Koloff come in and preach the word at their church. They had a good turnout for him. I've talked to Nikita, and he said he was just blessed by it, and he really enjoyed CSRA Worship Center. Paul and April were, great people. He enjoyed, the members of the church. So it was a good time had by all. I got to listen to it. He brought, an awesome word from God, and he blessed them, and they blessed him.
Yes.
So it was a great time. He's coming back to this area in October the 30th, and he'll be preaching he's going to be doing a day man camp at our church, and then preaching on Sunday at our church.
Now,
So-
listen, let me ask you this, Bill, while I'm thinking about it. The day man camp at our church, I know it's going to be limited to about 60 men.
Right.
So when are you going to start signups for that? Sometime maybe in August or something?
I'm thinking September,
And give-
August, September,
Because-
October, because
because
I'm gonna
the-
cut it off about October 15th
Yeah, so we'll
because
know.
we're gonna actually have prime rib.
Prime rib dinner for the men.
Can I
and-
serve the
lunch.
food?
Yes, you probably can. We'll be needing
Okay.
some help.
Good, because I want to go.
But yeah,
I want to
was
listen.
yeah, it's the man camp is going to be great for the men. Then he's going to be preaching at our church that Sunday on the 31st.
I'll be there.
So it's going to be great. So listen, what else was there? We were gonna. There was something. Oh, we're leaving actually Wednesday morning. Me and Rachel and Pastor and Sister Schaefer and us, and we're going down to the Health and Freedom Conference in Tampa, Florida. But Bill is actually leaving Wednesday, and he's
Yeah, I'm
going
going to Winston-Salem.
North Carolina, to be on
Going-
a podcast.
Yeah. But I'll be
Famous.
going to the Truth Network,
Network.
studio,
Uh-huh.
and hanging out with
Nikita.
a friend, and then I'll be doing Nikita's podcast called Man Up.
Wow.
Man up,
Nikita.
yeah.
Called so,
And I guess they'll tell us when that
yeah,
will be
it'll air
available, when
in a
it'll
couple
air
months
and stuff.
he's unfortunately I'm not the only one he invited, but he
I'm the only one that matters to me.
yeah, it's he's gonna have several. We're gonna do several that day, so.
Well, that'll be good.
Yeah, I get to see like not saying this is not a real
But you'll get to
radio
go to
station,
another
but
studio and see
yeah,
how it's done
these
too,
people
right?
actually
So
get
he's
to
excited.
be paid to be
Yeah.
on the radio, and
Right.
I get to see
This ain't pro bono for them.
I get to see an actual studio how it works and
Right.
see the differences, and I might can share some. We might be doing it a lot better than they do.
Yeah,
Right.
how about you videotape some of the stuff, bring it back,
That's right.
Yeah,
You may
well,
have something for us.
I'm definitely gonna
get some
do some.
pointers.
So
And
we're
I'll show
very
you.
excited about that,
Well,
what
see,
God's doing.
I'll show you how God works.
Okay.
Anybody that listens to the show knows B.J. Bolt listens quite regularly.
Uh-huh.
He's a dear friend of mine. Worked together and known him a while. He said, I just bought a 4-wheel drive, 35 horsepower John Deere with a front end loader and a box blade. Just got a 5-foot bush hog too. When I get home, he's buying a 20 horsepower with a box blade. And you use either to do the work you need done, or I can do it free of charge and all that. So
BJ, God bless you. Thank you so
I'll
much.
definitely take you up on it because we
Yeah.
need some bush hogging.
We definitely need some stuff done. That would be so great.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you just
See how you
He's
can't
amazing.
you cannot outgive God.
Can't
You
make
just
this stuff
never-
up.
You cannot make it up. That is so encouraging. Well, listen, guys, it's 9:13. We're going to cut out of here at 9:15. So I want
9:30.
Yeah, 9:30. I'm sorry. I want you to do the joy challenge, but
Okay.
then I want to have time to do the word of the day. It's a good word today.
Okay,
And it'll be
good.
fun, and then we'll end the show. And,
Can I do this with that real quick?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Now, West Virginia, for those making the trip in West Virginia, especially from this area, you'll understand this thing. We got up there. Well, they didn't have any Duke's mayonnaise.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
Yo,
So-
Megan didn't buy us Dukes in Texas.
So we had to
Was
make a
hurt.
choice. We had to make a choice since there was no Dukes. That was either nothing or no. It was either Hellman's or Kraft's.
Hellman's.
Yeah.
So we chose Hellman's too.
We did.
So
Hellman's.
that's what this or that.
But it was so funny because we're standing in the store shopping, and Jana, who we're with, my friend, she goes, no Dukes? And I'm like, girl, they don't have any. She even went and double checked behind me. I'm like, I'm telling you, there's no Dukes.
And then they told me, and I went. I said, I'm gonna find some Dukes.
Yeah, so I didn't go to Walmart with the peoples this time because I was working, and Miss Megan didn't get Dukes.
Oh,
And
listen.
I thought me and James were about to fall out and die.
There are some things that I'll buy store brand on. Different things don't matter. Mayonnaise, ketchup, and mustard are not any of those.
Yeah, no. I'm just
And-
glad she didn't get Miracle Whip.
And Heinz 57 sauce, we ate at a steakhouse up there, and the food was good. But I asked for some Heinz 57.
And they didn't
And he
have.
brought me an off-brand of,
Yeah, they
it
had-
was utterly disgusting.
They had Junior's 54.
Yeah, it was not no High 57. But anyway, so what do y'all think?
Okay, I can do the joy real fast,
Okay.
and then we can do that.
Oh, you're gonna choose
But-
Hellman's?
I didn't vote
Out of
it.
those two,
Yeah,
Hellman's.
Hellman's. Yeah.
Hellman's is the
I'm
closest
choosing
and-
Dukes, okay?
Dukes
Yeah.
for sure.
Get out the
Duke's mayo, but if
Dukes.
you can't have Duke's, I don't know how anybody eats Miracle Whip. That is,
Oh.
Rihanna likes some.
yeah.
That's like
Oh my
sour.
God, that's
something.
sweet.
Like
That's
sour something. It was awful.
So yeah, what y'all want? Dukes. We want Dukes.
Dukes.
Aunt Gail says,
Oh, I'm not on
have
the
to ask, did the wall get painted white?
What wall?
wall get painted white.
Aunt Gail,
Because that must have been a story I sold.
I don't know. So let me see.
The wall. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome, Abel.
I don't know what you mean by that, Aunt Gail. So if you can expound a little bit.
See,
I don't know.
yeah, I'm trying to think. Did we didn't hit a wall or nothing up there, did we?
I don't.
Oh, behind you. No,
Oh.
we haven't painted it.
Oh
no,
yeah,
no,
maybe
no.
behind.
No, that's just a little
No, we normally
you
don't show
changed.
this
Yeah,
Show
this
us that,
view.
I
I've
guess.
left this view the whole
the whole
time.
time. Yeah.
Same wallpaper. Thank you, April.
Yeah, we haven't. It's just the lighting. We want to paint it though, not
Right.
white though.
Yeah, it's gonna get painted.
Eventually.
Everything's
Okay.
gonna get painted.
Let me get here to our Joy Challenge intro real quick.
And now, this week's Joy Challenge.
So it's pretty simple, fits in with everything. I just want you guys to ask the Lord to show you the needs around you, and then I want you to be faithful and obedient and sow into them. Whether it's a local church, your church, whether your church has a ministry, like a missionary fund, whether you pay it forward every time you go to Dunkin' Donuts, or you keep little goodie bags in your car. I don't care how you do it. Just do it. Just do it.
Yes.
And then you'll be so blessed, and
mean-
people around you will be so blessed.
Yeah, because when you're out there looking for a ministry, you don't have to look far.
No.
You can create your own ministry. Okay,
Yeah.
well, I'm gonna do this for this.
Yeah.
You know,
See
I'm
the
gonna pay it
need,
forward.
ask the Lord to meet it through you.
That's right.
Right.
See the need, ask the
And
Lord to
you
meet it through you.
absolutely. And he's proven that even today on this show
Yeah.
that you cannot outgive him.
Yeah, and it's the little things. It's not like, don't get in there and be like, oh, there's so much, I can't do all of this. Like, see the person in front of you and love them. That's
Right.
all ministry is, just loving the person in front of you.
And April said you are the best at the Joy Challenge.
Yes,
Oh,
she
thank
is.
you.
Yes,
Thank
she is.
you.
Let's not forget our friend Rachel. If you know anybody that has a car,
Yeah, that's the
that
Joy
has a
Challenge. I'll give
ministry
Rachel a car.
yeah, you know, let's bless our sister. Okay.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Word of the day. Y'all ready? Here we
Yep.
go.
Y'all know what time it is.
Shavu.
I does.
Jabberwocky.
Fibberty gibber.
Y'all got pens?
Nope.
Good bit, sir.
I'll go get us two.
Buffalo.
I'll get us two.
Manuka. Word of the day. What is it at the end?
It's time for word of
There
the
it
day.
is. Yay, everybody hand clap.
Yay. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
So, here is our word for today. We're going to do our spelling. All of you that
No.
are watching, you know the rules. Just don't Google it, and let's have some fun, okay?
Yep, let's
Cool word today.
get her done.
Okay, our word today is tardiloquent.
Oh, gosh. Tardillo.
Tardiloquent.
Quint. Okay, I know I spelled it wrong.
Tardiloquent. We're going to give those watching on Facebook time to participate. So while everybody's thinking about that, I want to go ahead and remind and announce to everyone that next Monday we will not be having a program. April and then we'll be on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
But-
Rachel's busted one out quick.
Well,
But-
she probably got it right.
But we will be back the following week, I believe.
Let's see. Well, we got next week, and then we got July 4th, Monday.
That
I don't know if it's on a
I don't know.
Monday.
Anyway, for right now, guys, we'll try to
Yeah,
keep it on our
we'll keep
Facebook
you
feed. But
updated.
next week for sure we won't be here. Okay. Okay, April. Okay, let's go with some of the spellings here.
Robin laid
TARDILOQUINT.
April said she got late at the event because she stopped at a yellow light, but should have gunned it.
Okay,
That's
so that's her
that's her definition.
Yeah.
Tarlequin.
Arriving
Okay.
late at an event because you got stopped at a yellow light, but should have got nothing, girl.
That's funny.
Okay,
Yeah, that
Rachel's
was all right.
spelling TARDILAQUENT. Okay.
All
My
right.
spelling's TARDILEQUINT.
Okay.
All right. So this is what I've got. TARDILLOQUENT.
Okay, so everybody kind of stumbled around it,
Okay.
but no one got it exactly. Rachel, tardy but graceful enters the room. Gracefully enters the room.
Me.
So good.
It's me. So it's me. It's me.
Oh gosh, April, come on, Bill. You know,
You know,
love
I
my
can't
It was
even.
okay. It was
I can't
okay.
even see April's
Yeah,
definition.
it was okay.
It's not even on my feed.
It's not. It's not.
It's not. Her spelling is, and her
Oh,
other comment is,
that's
but not
so
the
funny.
definition.
Okay, so here's the spelling, guys. Y'all ready?
Okay.
Because this might change y'all's definition when I
Probably
tell
not.
It's not.
you. Okay. TARDILOQUENT.
I was like one letter
That's
off.
what I told y'all.
Instead
Y'all
of
were
a-
all
instead of a E.
dancing around it a little bit.
Instead of E, I should have used a O.
Sausage right around that thing.
Yeah, you
All
sure
right,
did.
um,
Okay, so Bill, what's your definition?
Well, everybody knows what delinquent is.
Okay.
Okay. How you pronounce? Tardiloquent. That's just, it's when you're tardy all the time. You're
So
a
much so
delinquent
that you're a delinquent.
and tardiness. Yeah,
You're a
delinquent
delinquent in
and
tardiness.
tardiness.
Yeah,
you're
you're so
constantly,
tardy that you're a
you're
delinquent.
constantly late, or like for youngins, they're constantly late to school, or you're constantly late,
Okay.
and that's when people, like I'm people that work with me know I'm gonna be a couple minutes late coming back from break, so I'm
So you're-
tardiloquent and break.
So you are tardiloquent coming
And
back
break.
from breaks.
Yeah, because if I'm supposed to be back 8:45, that's when I leave the break room.
I'm here for it. You gotta
Yeah,
work
but
on the
they
man's
relieve-
time.
Yeah,
That's
they
right,
relieve me at a
that's right.
certain time, so I'm gonna go and sit down and then leave when I'm
heck yeah.
supposed to. Yeah, so
Okay, so my definition: the slow movement of an armadillo or an anteater.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
speaking of that, we saw armadillo on
You did.
on our
dead
property.
one.
Well, it was dead, laying on its back, but someone ate it. So
Those
I don't know.
things carry disease like leprosy.
BJ says I'm offended.
Yeah, but my concern was what ate it.
Okay, let's
Anyway.
don't get off onto that because we got to get this
Okay, yeah.
definition.
Hopefully, a coyote.
Okay.
Number 2, graceful in movement. Number 2, you mean when you're doing a number 2, you're graceful?
No, she's saying her number 2 definition is
Oh.
graceful in movement.
I thought.
So let me just tell you, of everything, Cassie, give us your definition again.
The slow movement of an armadillo or anteater.
Okay, so let me tell you what this word means. It means
Turtle.
to speak slowly. So you had the slow movement part,
Mm-hmm.
but it means to speak slowly.
Well,
or
I got
slow of
that from
speech.
the tar part. That
Uh-huh.
means slow.
Tard.
Uh-huh.
Retard. Which means
And
to
slow down, yeah.
Yeah.
Slow down.
So how about that?
So
But
I was
didn't know
close.
delinquent was. Oh well,
I was close.
I didn't know
To
delinquent
speak.
was to speak.
Well, you eloquently, you speak.
Yeah.
So diligently, I guess is the different.
There's a difference. So
Okay.
I was close.
I was
Good
closer.
word. Good word.
And April, in her own way, was close with her first definition.
Okay, y'all are all.
Well, we
y'all
all
are
got
stretching
the
it, so y'all just want me to give y'all all kudos and say
we
y'all
all
are
got the slow part because they all
Uh-huh.
said tardy.
Right.
But they took it as eloquent instead of delinquent.
So we were to speak slowly and aka slothful.
a slothful.
So I do that. I speak slow.
Yeah, you do. You're very tardiloquent.
No, I wouldn't say very. I've met some people that are much slower than you. Y'all remember Richard from church?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
He spoke tar, whatever.
He spoke slow.
And
But-
he said I talk too fast.
And
So
see, and sometimes like when people are talking, and I'm like,
I'm like, today, Junior.
yeah, that's it. Today, let's.
Yeah, but that's people that go on and on.
You talking about Rachel, aren't you?
Yes, I was
I knew
talking
you
about
were.
Rachel.
Rachel
We
loves,
love you.
Oh, no. I tell her Rachel loves to tell a story.
A little story.
No,
It's a long story. You're
and-
gonna take five
But-
excavations.
And her son the same way. They're gonna
and-
tell you everybody's name and all that. Because, and I had to laugh yesterday at church because I was talking to Walter, and Walter was telling me a story, and every time he said this fella, Caleb said his name was. tell me his name.
The details.
And I finally
Rachel
said,
is in the
"Oh,
details,
yeah, I
and
don't need
Caleb's
to-"
just like her.
Yeah, I said,
You're
I don't
exactly
need to know
right.
that. I don't need to know the name.
I'm never gonna
you
meet
know.
that man.
Yeah, it was funny though. I had to
It is
laugh.
fun. It is a good if you want to go on an exhibition in the storytelling, you need to listen to
Right.
Rachel.
Right.
She's gonna have 5 detours.
But you know, it's funny. It's not just with people talking. In all seriousness, reading. Even in my years of reading, like say you would get a book and like they're telling you the scene that it says, and as we walked down the path, the rocky path, there were flowers on the side as the sun was setting, and like I'm skipping all of that, and I'm getting to the.
Yeah, but that's what sets it up.
Yeah, that's why Rachel knew
'Cause-
what book you had on your bookshelf and you
But
didn't.
that's my point.
Right.
Though. I mean, what I'm saying is, though, that's the way I read.
Because
too.
when I tell a story, if it was just a plain story, I'm going to add to it a little bit. I'm going
I
to
know.
Yeah,
enhance it.
I'm gonna
Wanna
tell you
enhance
a
the story.
story. I'm not telling you. I'm gonna tell you a tale.
Because when we went over the mountain in the rainstorm, I left out the thunder and lightning and all that because it was thundering and lightning, and I could have really expanded.
We could have
on that.
wrote half a chapter.
Right. April says this is the white Southerners talk.
I think
Well, yeah. We are a little slower in speech
it's
than some
slow in
other
speech.
people.
Yeah.
Except
Yeah.
me, I don't know. I can get pretty fast. One time I was spitting out some revelation to my friend Seth, and he was like, "Slow down." I didn't catch any of
April
that.
says, "I'm with you, Dana." Right. The
This is the way Southerners
Yeah.
talk. Yeah, some are a true Southerner.
and I mean the funny part about it is I'm that way in the way I describe. Like I don't go back and
Yeah, you
say.
straight to the point.
I was like, get to the point, and I love it because with Rachel we joke and we can go. We do this little thing like this, like
Do you chew your food?
yeah. But
Well,
I'm
you
fast,
need to listen to a story then.
I'm a fast eater though.
I don't.
Too.
I don't really chew my food. I just.
You
I'm
chew
a
it.
fast eater, a fast walker.
Because
I
I'm
talk
on.
pretty fast.
I'm going to enhance it, and you're going to really enjoy my story.
I hate it
Oh.
when people don't enjoy your story.
Uh,
I'm like,
Well,
listen.
see, I like enhancements because when you tell a story, the same story, like 3 or 4 years later, you can enhance it a different way.
Oh yeah. Then let me tell you, the
You can
Turners,
lie.
the Turners
The
are real
Turner-
good at that.
It
They
enhances.
love enhancing
They like
their
enhancing.
stories. It's like he'll be telling a story, and I'm like,
Well, if I'm talking
that is
to,
not what
That
you
is
said 2
not-
weeks ago.
if I'm talking to my cousin,
Oh,
I'm
my
going to
gosh.
enhance it because he's not going to out enhance me.
it's like a competition. Y'all so crazy.
Kind of like me and April with Word of the Day. She's not
Yeah.
going to out enhance me with the definition.
I do love a good storyteller. If you can sit here and tell a good story, I'll just listen to you talk. I like
See,
it.
look at Rachel. You see what she said?
With that. I heard a story about a demon manifested. The demon spoke very slow. It's my name. Yeah, I remember.
Slothful.
I remember that,
Yep,
too.
I would have
remember
been
that
like,
story,
get to it, sir. Get
too. Well, I
to
can't
it.
deal with slothful. You need to get out now. Go.
Get to it. Get out.
I love it. Y'all, it's been a great
Oh,
program
man.
today. It's 9:30, and it's time for us to get out of here. Remember, we will not be here next
week.
Okay?
Nope.
I'm gonna be sleeping.
Yeah. We'll be driving home from Florida, so
Well, that'll be fun.
I'll be sleeping too
be
because I'll be on night shift.
yeah, Bill. So anyway, we'll be back the following week. I hope. If not, just we'll be sure and keep it posted on our
No,
Facebook.
because
So y'all check back.
we want y'all to storytelling is
Yeah.
art. Bill Turner is a great story.
Yes,
yes,
he is.
BJ, you are so right.
I could listen to him tell stories.
You are
Um,
so right.
Yeah, we want y'all to enjoy the summer months and time with your family, especially if you're on vacation. And we do the
Yes.
same thing during the summer months too. So we promise we'll be back new and improved.
Yeah, we got some work
Here
days
directly.
coming up.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
doing
I'm excited
improved.
about that too. Thank y'all all for listening
Yeah,
today.
'cause-
It's been a great program.
I would like to revamp it all and have it ready to rock and roll like August,
Yeah, that'd
first
be
Monday
cool.
in August.
Be good.
Really.
All right,
revamp.
guys. With that, we're going to be out
Tell-
of here. Thanks for joining us
Yeah,
today.
thank you for tuning in. Thank y'all for listening to Your Morning Man on WCC 99.9 FM Williston. Love y'all.
We love you all. Be blessed and be a blessing this week.
Yes, thank you. We could not do this without you. Thanks to our sponsors, for our prayer sponsors, and all of you that listen on Facebook and on 99.9 FM. We love you so much, and hear from Your Morning Manna. We will be back in a week or so. Enjoy your summertime, your vacation. We love you. Until then, guys, we're out of here. Bye.